Full stack developer is the best position to consider in technology. With so many disciplines in technology, I'm sure that statement will ruffle some feathers. Everyone thinks their discipline is the best, but let me explain. I've been in technology for over 20 years, starting as an engineer and working my way up to director. If I were to start today, I would absolutely become a full stack developer. The upside potential for a full stack developer is limitless. When people start looking into technology as a career, they don't realize that this field is super segmented. It's cut up into several different disciplines. When I was first coming up, I had no idea that there were so many different things within technology. Which discipline should you look into? Which disciplines are the most lucrative? Full stack development checks all the boxes and is something to consider. But before I dig into the reasons why, let me explain what a full stack developer is. Everyone knows what a developer is, right? A developer is someone who writes code for application. So what's the difference between a developer and a full stack developer? I'm glad you asked. In the past, if you wanted to write a program, you did exactly that. You opened up your developer environment and started writing code in C, C++, C#, or whatever. When you finished, you would compile and package it for use. Then, when someone wanted to use it, they would install that program on their computer. Sounds familiar, right? Take Microsoft Office, for example. Remember, you had to install that application in order to use it. Well, Microsoft Office was written in C# and C++. So guess what? You would need a C# or C++ developer. That developer would be able to code in that language. But these days, things are different. The technologies and methodologies have evolved over the years. How do people do it today? Everything is web-based today. Take a look at Google Sheets or Google Docs. Those are web-based competitors for Microsoft Office products. So let's examine what's really happening when you use these web-based products. Typically, you go to a website. The website's essentially where you interact with the application. This is called the front end. What's the first thing you have to do? You have to enter your username and password and click Submit. This information is sent to the server for authentication. This is called the back end. So the front end is constantly talking to the back end. In relative terms, everything you're touching and interacting with is called the front end. Every time you click a link or hit submit, that request is sent to the back end for processing, the back end. Then there's the data layer. Have you noticed that when you go shopping online, it keeps those items in your shopping cart? What about that list of addresses when you need to ship the package? This is all data within some sort of database somewhere. This is the data layer. See how this is quite different than before? Let's call that before stuff legacy development. In legacy development, you'd still have a front end and a back end and a data layer, but it was more together. If you were a C programmer, for example, you'd build the front end within C. C had its own designer. And then you would write your code, which would include the calls to the database, typically an SQL database. This new landscape is completely decoupled, completely separate. So the front end, which is typically a website nowadays, could be written in React or Angular. Then the back end could be something like Node.js. Then the database would be something like MongoDB. This grouping of technologies is called the stack or the tech stack. So for example, you may hear something like, we work on the mean stack or the MERN stack. Well, mean, M-E-A-N. That means M is for MongoDB, the data layer. E is for Express.js, which is the web application framework. We didn't really get into this, but you can consider this the glue that holds the technologies together. Then you have A for Angular, which is the front end, and N for Node.js, which is the back end. The MERN stack is very similar, except that it uses React instead of Angular. Hence, MERN versus mean. As you can see, this is a ton of stuff, a ton of technologies. So when you say full stack developer, that's someone who understands how to work in this manner with several technologies stacked together. Now that you understand what a full stack developer is, let me explain why it's limitless. Let's say you're a full stack developer and you currently use a mean stack, MongoDB, Express.js, Angular, and Node. Okay, cool. But then you say, I want to learn React as a front end. So you go out and learn React. Just by doing that, you can work on the MERN stack, which is MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node. You didn't have to relearn everything. You just swapped out the front end from Angular to React. Now you're capable of working on both the MERN stack and the mean stack. Just to give you an idea, these are some of the stacks that the large players use. So you don't really have to start from scratch. As you learn different technologies, you can add them to your repertoire. As your skills increase, you can quickly adapt and learn other technologies. There are a ton of different stacks out there. The LAMP stack, for example, is another popular one. LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So as far as growth, technology is always evolving and improving, working in this newer decoupled manner as opposed to the older legacy developed patterns allows you to keep fresh and relevant. You can add these new technologies to your stack. You can be as cutting edge as you choose. Furthermore, the internet is your canvas. Let's say that you come up with an incredible idea for an application. What's stopping you from building it? If you were a C# developer back in the days, you'd have to create an application. You'd have to convince people to install it. Turning that into a profitable endeavor isn't a simple proposition. In other words, C# developers don't really have the ability to create an application and put it on the web for everyone to use. Full stack developers, on the other hand, their applications tend to be web applications built for the internet, which means that they can be used by everyone on the internet. So it isn't out of the realm of possibility to create an application, set up some sort of pay-for-use or subscription model, and voila, you're basically in business without having to create some behemoth of a software company. And to illustrate this point, how many people buy applications for their phones? Well, those applications are simply built using different tech stacks. See what I mean? The options are limitless. If you want to keep abreast of the technology, you can do that. If you want to create your own application to release for profit, you can do that too. How many other disciplines in technology give you an on-ramp to create an application for profit by yourself without hiring a team? But maybe you don't want to do those things. Maybe you just want to have a lucrative salary and work a 9 to 5. Yeah, you could do that too. So Google Full Stack Developer, read up on it, see if it excites you. Full stack development leads into some of the hottest technologies, such as ChatGPT and AI. So check out this video to see how companies are coping with the speed of artificial intelligence.